Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Yes, indeed, friends, you found it. This is Daily Dose Radio, artisanal Bible study that's organic and fresh. Well, this week is a great week for us to be studying the suffering servant's prayer here in Psalm 86, since this is Holy Week. And I hope you have a great Holy Week this week. I hope you're able to attend services on Wednesday. Maybe Thursday night you'll have a Maundy Thursday service, or Friday night you'll go to a Good Friday service, or maybe during the day on Friday you'll have a Good Friday celebration. And then, of course, there's Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday that follows. Make sure you don't pass up any of these opportunities to worship the Lord this week. It's a great time for us to focus on the suffering servant and all he did for us in the cross. A couple things I forgot to mention yesterday as we went through verses 1 through 3. The Lord's name is used here in this psalm 4 different times, beginning in verse 1, O Lord, in verse 6, give ear, O Lord, in verse 11, teach me thy way, O Lord, and then at the end in verse 17, because thou, Lord, hast holpen me. So the tetragrammaton is used in each of those, and as you look at your translation, most of your translations, if they're faithful, will have each letter capitalized. That tells you that you're looking at the Lord's name, what we call the tetragrammaton. That is the 4-letter name of the Lord that's not spoken. If you go to synagogue and they read this text, they will not pronounce that. They will pronounce it Adonai, which is a different Hebrew word. That's why I reject all notion of this being translated Yahweh or Jehovah. The Jews will not translate it that way. They won't say the word at all. And so for us to say, well, it's how you say it, this is how it should be spoken, well, there's no tradition behind that whatsoever. No scholarly work over the centuries to suggest that at all. So when I refer to it here in the text of the Psalms, I'm going to call it the tetragrammaton. But on the other side of that, we have a preponderance here in this particular psalm of the word Adonai actually written out in the text of the psalm. As a matter of fact, we have it 7 different times in this psalm. So it's very interesting that the Davidic writer here uses the word Adonai instead of, well, he had plenty of choices. He could have used the word God, or he could have used the tetragrammaton as many times as he wanted to use it. I mean, who's to stop him? He's the one writing the psalm under the direction of the Spirit of God. But he uses the word Lord here, and we see 2 of those occasions right here in verses 4 through 7. Let me read those verses for you. Rejoice the soul of thy servant, for unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. For thou, Lord, art good and ready to forgive, and plenteous in mercy unto all them that call upon thee. Give ear, O Lord, unto my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my trouble I will call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. Verse 7 now ends the first section of this psalm, which we will entitle the supplication. Here the suffering servant is in prayer. And maybe this is exactly what Jesus prayed when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and his sweat drops turned to droplets of blood. Preserve my soul there in verse 2. Be merciful unto me. That's another great theme that we see throughout this psalm, is this idea of mercy. Be merciful unto me in verse 3. For thou, O Lord, art good and ready to forgive, and plenteous in mercy. Another place where the idea of God's mercy shines through here. In the day of trouble I will call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. Remember I said up at the very beginning that translation of hear me probably should be answer me. And if we had that, bow down thine ear, O Lord, answer me, it would work really well with the response here. For thou wilt answer me there in verse 7. He's asking for an answer, and he's saying confidently, I know, because you're merciful, that you will answer me. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you have a great day today. Join me again tomorrow as we look at verses 8 through 10 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.